Keep it, keep it. Yo, 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 so got a bit of a different video for you this week. This weekend there's actually two events I wanted to go to and I had to make a choice. Now, having the MX-5 kind of made the choice for me. One event was an enduro and they're usually a 2-day thing. You go, you do the day's practice, you stay overnight and then you do the race. However, I haven't got my motorhome yet, so the other thing that was on this weekend is we have a trials competition. So that's just a 1-day event. I can just nip up in the MX-5, get the comp ridden, and should be pretty good fun. We are in Kinlochleven, is that how you say it? Kinlochleven? And one of those. And this is a popular place for motorbike trials riding. If you are into motorbike trials, you've probably heard of this place or been here. And I've always wanted to come ride here. So it's pretty cool to be here today and it's not raining, which is absolutely fantastic. This is the first time driving my MX-5 on these like B roads up in Scotland, and oh my god, I can understand why people love these cars. That was the most fun drive I've had for a long time. And if you are wondering, yes, my bike does fit inside an MX-5. I'm just going to get my bike out, get it all set up. There's a few people here, which is actually really cool, and also really cool, got Tim Stedman. Tim is a rider which I'm sure a lot of you old school guys will know. He's also a rider I used to compete against like throughout the 2000s, and I think the last time we ever competed was, I think he was saying, like 2007 and 2008. So this is like an old guys reunion trials comp, which is actually really awesome. So I'm gonna go sign on. I'll try my best to film as much as I can and let you guys know how the day goes. Ideal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
And absolutely brilliant to see so many taking up the challenge of the Chinese year of the returning trial rider. So special welcome to Tim and Ali. Ali did actually ride in the comp a couple of years ago, but I think this is your first time for
7 years.
7 years. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Have a great time. Go and enjoy yourselves.
So you've been practicing the sections, Ross?
Not at all, no.
No?
It was set up yesterday, but never had a go at all.
What bike are you riding today?
I have a Mark II Ashton Justice with added LEC saddle with bolts from about 10-12 years ago.
Oh, that was my saddle, everyone. So yeah, if you don't know, I actually rode for Ashton bikes, I can't remember, was it 2006 or 7? And yeah, Ross actually got one of my old frames not that long ago, which is now obviously taken apart and stolen the saddle off. Why aren't you riding the long comp one?
Well, I like the steep head angle on this one, the short wheelbase, and yeah, just the style of it really.
Fair enough. I've had Tim in the video before, haven't I? Yeah, I've had Tim in the video before. If you guys don't know, Tim is one of my longest riding buddies. We met in Wales way back as like 2004 or 5, something like that.
I think it was even before that.
Was it before that?
It might have been before that.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tim and I used to compete against each other on, like, for years and years, and I think, what are you saying, the last comp we did together?
The last comp we did together was in 2008 in Hookwoods. A long time ago. While you're still riding for Ashton.
Was it?
I think.
Really?
I think you're on an Ashton bike.
No way, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Right, well, you're going down today.
That's it, it's on. Are you ready? Yeah, ready.
Tim, Ross and I decided to go around together and Tim was first up. If you've never been to a trials comp before, you are tasked to ride stages known as sections. The number of sections differs from club to club, but in this case we had 5 sections which we had to do 3 times. Each section has an observer who keeps track of your score and punches it into the card you're given at the start of the day. And each section will have coloured gates. You go through the colour of your category in order. You get points against you every time you put a foot down. The maximum points you can get in each section is 5, so putting a foot down 5 times is the worst score you can get. You also get an instant 5 points if you put both feet down, put your hand down, put both legs on the same side of the bike, miss a gate, lift your frame with your hands, break the tape or run out of time.
2 dabs.
Each section has a 2-minute time limit. Some competitions are run BIU rules, which let you rest on your pedals or bash ring, and some are run UCI rules, where you'll get penalty points for touching anything but the tyres on the course. Check with your local club to see which rules they use. Tim had a couple of dabs, which is a foot down, but got out without maximum points, which is good. It's quite good watching someone else try a section first. It gives you an idea of grip levels or any particularly tricky bits you might have missed. You'll notice throughout the video I try and spend most time on both wheels. That's partly because I'm on a street bike and it's comfortable on two wheels, but also because back hopping is tiring and I only do it when needed. Now the end of this section was a bit of a concern to me as it was pretty tight. If my bike was longer, I could attack it from the right and just put my front wheel on top of the high rock, but I had to try something else. Annoyingly, the flag post got stuck at my wheel, which threw me a bit, making the end of this section pretty messy. In the end, I dropped 1 mark, which is actually pretty decent. By the way, it's always good practice to thank the observers. They're usually volunteers and they've given up their time to come and do this. Ross was up next. This side up had a small takeoff which made it harder to be accurate. Ross lost 1 mark here, but noticed that once his foot is down, he makes sure he gets his bike up and into a position that allows him to continue. It's good practice to make the most of each dab.
Nice.
Some comps will tape boundaries to each section and some will leave them open. This comp had open sections which leaves room for some pretty sneaky lines if you've got the time to do them.
He's got a plan.
Ross tried to take advantage of the lack of tape by getting up past the gate on the top rock and approaching it from a better angle. Unfortunately, it meant he had to ride further, which tired him out and made it really tight for the time limit. Ross ended up running out of time and getting maximum points.
Unlucky.
I wonder if he'll try the same next time.
Okay, that's the first section done. Bike's feeling really good, although there's a lot different from riding street. Good fun though. It's been a while.
After he caught his breath, Ross was the guinea pig for the next section. This one was shorter but had a particularly tricky side up that favours the left foot rider. Ross, Tim and I are all right footed.
This is the most difficult part of this section.
The difficulty of riding natural never really shows on camera. You can't see the way the floor has little bumps and dips that catch the wheels or the angle of the rock we need to get up. This wasn't a big move, but it was technically hard. A good effort, but a single dab dropped. There was a smaller and less technical bad way side up after the first one, but Ross dealt with it with no issues. It was a simple route to the finish which caused him no further dabs.
Nice.
Tim had a good try but lost his balance when on the bash, which is easy to do especially with bigger bash rings.
Old school bike, old school technique.
Again, like Ross, Tim comfortably cleaned the rest of the section.
Nice.
Now it was my turn. I wasn't feeling particularly confident about the side up, but was hoping it would look nicer once I was on my bike. Unfortunately, it didn't look any easier once I was there. I decided to try a bad side up like the other guys, but I just couldn't commit to it and ended up losing my balance and getting maximum points.
The most awkward, horrible thing.
The next section started with a big jump which Ross missed the timing on, resulting in a quick 5.
Well, I still got 3 more tries, Ross.
Let's see if I can redeem myself. I was feeling more confident with this as bunny hops are more my thing. There was only room for a half pedal stroke, but it was downhill and a good enough kicker to get me straight up. The rest of the section was pretty easy until the last gate. I thought it could be done with a bunny hop, but the run up was way tighter than I thought. My plan B was to get on the corner of this rock down to the left and use that as a platform to hop up and through the gate. It was a small rock and I'd need to be very accurate, so I wasn't sure if I could do this or not. Fortunately, I got my balance spot on and sneaked through the gate to get 0 points in this section.
Did you see that pull shake?
Tim has a longer bike but is still good at bunny hops. He tried a different pedal start position and almost got it first try. He kept his feet up and tried again but couldn't quite get the speed needed. Maximum points given.
So close.
I'm going to take a bit of a closer look at your bike, Tim.
So this is the Ashley 26-inch gigahertz Trials Long Edition.
I was going to say, it looks a bit longer than the...
It's like the evolution of the 26 gigahertz. 3 different types of tubing in it. We had T45 for the down tube, we had 853 for the top tube and 725 at the back end. And we had it fillet brace at the front and TIG welded at the back to make the most of the different joining techniques.
Okay.
Using the best steel technology we could.
Awesome.
And it's super stiff, super strong. It's lasted me 10 years, so can't be bad.
Got, was that 2004 McArthur?
Yes.
HS33, upside down of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Combined with a 2005 model.
Upside down.
Upside down, of course.
Because both of them need to be upside down.
And then, was that an old school Hope?
No, it's not. It's a Mad Hub.
A Mad? That's even more old school.
It's a random branded Mad Hub from Mr. Giles Wolf.
That's
along with the Mad branded bars.
Oh, really, as well?
From when I was riding for Mad.
The Maxis
years ago.
TT, old school.
Larson TT, yeah.
Trial rear tyre.
Trial sticky.
Now these things are old school. Not seen one of these for about 10 years.
In fact, that's so old that it's beginning to perish. Fantastic.
And we've got an old school XTR mech.
1998.
That is awesome.
99 I think it is, XTR rear mech.
Oh, hang on. Is that an X-Lite rim?
It's an X-Lite Faxo. We'll just go around to the sticker down here. There we go.
Oh my word.
X-Lite Faxo rear rim.
That is as old school as it comes.
And original Holotech 1 Shimano XT cranks.
This thing is a relic.
It's an absolute relic, like the rider.
This section was one of the longest and had 3 main gates that looked pretty tricky. The first was at the top of these rocks where we had to clear up and over a small gap with no run up. Once there, it was a quick turn to a tight drop. The biggest obstacle was this bigger rock. Again, there was no tape, so sneaky lines were allowed, but I wanted to try and side up to the top. Unfortunately, the rock was a bit slipperier than I thought, and I dropped one dab. A steep roll down followed. I don't think enough people do roll downs these days. And then a fairly tight side up. This was to my good side, so not as hard as the previous ones. But it was a windy day, which didn't help. It wasn't a stylish hop, but it worked. All that was left was a few easier moves to the finish line, although it's often the easier stuff that can catch you out, especially when you're tired or in grass that can hide small rocks. I managed to get out for a single dab, which I was happy with. Tim made the first gate look easy by going to the lower ledge rather than straight to the top. He also avoided my mistake by using a ledge as a way to make the jump smaller on the big rock. He also cleared the last main gate with ease and got out the section with 0 dabs.
Nice.
Ross thought he would try my idea, but got the same result.
Same as me.
He tried a different idea on the last gate, which didn't work out either. We were up against some pretty skilled young riders today. We've got to keep an eye on them. This was the most difficult section of the day in my eyes. It had a technical drop near the start and then 2 difficult gates later on. This was another technical side up. It didn't have a great takeoff and the gate on top was too tight to fit a bike sideways through, so you had to go a lot straighter than I'd like. Tim tried to go to his bad side again, but had to drop a foot. This was the last big gate and was super tech. Tim resorted to a strategic jab. That's where you put a foot down in an optimal place that allows you to lift the bike up to the top of an object. It's less tricky than trying to move and potentially dabbing in an inconvenient place or even falling off, but you throw away any chance of cleaning the section. Some people are more willing to strato dab than others. There's a skill in doing it, but I'd rather people try to clear sections rather than play it safe, although I might have to eat those words. I had good intentions of trying this first gate with a run up, but my competitiveness got the better of me and my foot went down for a strato dab.
I feel dirty.
It didn't take long for my foot to come down again with another one. I wanted to at least get this far so I could see how this looked and if it was possible to clear it. Not this time, but I've got 3 more chances. A good tip for when you do dab is to try and dab with your bad foot, as it's easier to get back on the bike. But if that's not possible, try and wedge your front wheel against something so your bike is stable when you get back onto it. It's a quick and easy exit, and out with 2 points.
Yeah.
Ross took the direct route down.
Nice.
But also resorted to a couple of strato dabs to complete the section. Although he redeemed himself by carrying on with a flat front tyre.
Hey, please.
15 left.
Good effort.
Got through, cheers.
So that's one lap done. Now to do it 2 more times. This section went the same as on the first lap. However, I wanted to try a different approach to this last gate that I struggled with before. I felt like a straighter attack would give me a better chance, and I was right. It was a bit of a risk, but it paid off. 0 dabs this time. Tim tried a similar idea to my last lap, and it may not have been the prettiest, but it worked out for him. Ross did try his sneaky line again. He was still very tight in time, but fewer mistakes saved him seconds, and he got out of the section.
Yeah, Ross.
Back to the horrible side up. Tim ended up doing a sweet move and used a small ledge to get his back wheel on and hooked up. Very nice. The rest of the section was easily cleared too. I chose a risky strategy, trying it to my good side. Doing it this way made the jump a lot bigger, but it felt like I'd have more control. It kinda worked, but I'm not very happy with it. The second side up was nastier than the guys had made it look. I might try and find a little sneaky line on the next lap. But like Tim, I got out of the section with no further issues. Ross was up next and he had a plan. He got a couple of hops run up and actually did a really cool wheel swap straight up to wheels. Definitely the nicest one yet.
Oh. Nice.
He did make a silly mistake elsewhere, but got out of the section with a good score.
Good work.
I feel Tim was annoyed this section beat him last time, so I wasn't surprised he got it this time round. On the last gate he ended up going for the main straight line up the rock. I'd considered this, but thought the angle would be hard for the tyres to grip. Seems I was correct. I really enjoyed this section last time, especially the first gate. Even though I cleaned this on the last lap, the final gate wasn't a guaranteed clear. I tried to repeat my line, but my accuracy wasn't as good and I couldn't put all my effort into the jump. I thought I was going to fall back for a 5, but I spotted the tree and made an unusual dab, which actually saved me. Ross's luck from the previous lap didn't improve. An unfortunate dab made it impossible to save despite his best efforts.
What? Oh, I've got seats over here.
Yeah, we're semi-street. Yeah.
I know.
Back to the longest section. The first few gates not causing too much difficulty. I still prefer to jump to the upper ledge on this gate. It feels nice and is a move I do a lot. Unfortunately my camera batteries ran out before I got to this point, but I took the same line Tim does here, although I think Tim got it a bit smoother. I managed to get out for 0 points, which I'm really happy with. Tim tried a sneaky line across the last gate, but the rock was angled so much his tyre folded and threw him off balance. By this time he was getting tired and only had a few seconds remaining. Yeah, it's an unfortunate 5.
Strategy.
Ross was determined to get this side up, but had the same result as last time. He then had an unfortunate crash when his back tyre got caught on a root as he kicked up the back wheel on his drop. Another unfortunate 5 points. I managed to be a little bit more controlled on the first drops in this section. But I was determined not to do any strato dabs this time round and chose to take a run up on this rock instead. The run up was uphill, bumpy, covered in slippery dead grass, but I thought it might be possible to get enough speed to roll or hop up the rock. I gave it a good few tries even though it was wasting valuable time. I just wanted to get up this rock and I didn't care about the rest of the section. In the end I had to admit defeat. I'll dab up it next time and see if I can clean the next gate instead. Tim wasn't taking any chances of a run up and tried another side up, resulting in a dab. He was being heckled at the time, which might not have helped.
Sorry, Ali.
Can't believe it.
I apologise.
More tyre fault almost cost him points here, although it did lose him his style bonus.
You having a moment there? Cheers, Ross.
Ross with a textbook strato dab here.
Disco stretchy jeans on.
But to be fair to him, he gave this one a really good attempt.
Oh, no, you get respect for that.
Dirty left.
Nice.
Just to add some confusion, we decided to ride the last lap in a different order to save some time. So we're back at the long section again. Definitely noticing a little bit of tiredness creeping into Tim's riding now, although he did smash the sneaky line around the last gate. No sneaking from me on this lap though. I want this hop. The attack paid off, but only just. I ended up doing a combination of Tim and Ross's ideas to get through the last gate. Ross was also determined to get this hop on his third attempt, and he actually got it spot on.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he couldn't keep that momentum going, and cracks were starting to appear. Because of that dab and general tiredness, he was getting tight on time. This was going to come down to the wire.
Go on, quick, quick, quick.
Unfortunately, he ran out of time just feet away from the end gate. Unlucky.
Ah.
Tim repeating his strato dab success one more time.
Time.
I also stuck to previously successful strato dabs as well.
You can do it.
However, that strategy changed for the hardest gate. I wanted to go for glory and try and clean it.
Come on, Ali, show us how it's done.
Yeah.
Slightly messy, but a success.
Dirty left.
Ross with a valiant effort too.
Good effort.
The tiredness really starting to kick in now. Trials is extremely exhausting at the better times, but especially if you've not ridden for a while.
Yeah.
I tried to repeat my line from last time, but like Tim, tiredness was seeping in, which made it harder to be accurate. I didn't hit my mark and dropped a punt. Ross was tight for time, so had to abandon his sneaky line and go directly up. One mark dropped.
Go on, Ross. Yeah.
After seeing Ross's wheel swap on his tech rock, I decided to try it too. My first try went almost too well and took me by surprise. My second attempt wasn't as committed, but still worked well. Ross didn't quite manage to repeat his success.
Oh.
But he did get up the rock in the next section that had been causing him some trouble.
Yep.
Can he get up the harder second rock though?
Oh.
Not quite. Looked like his pedal got caught on the rock when he wasn't expecting it.
Well, at least you got the hook.
For the third lap, I thought I'd try a sneaky line from the opposite side. It's risky, as if I lose my balance I'll have wasted a lot of time. It's also an awkward setup without much space to ready yourself. It's a one hop and go type move. It worked out though, and was a nice way to end the competition.
Alright, well that is the comp all done. I haven't actually counted what score I've got yet, but I need to go hand in my card and see how well we've done.
While they count everyone's score, there's just enough time to have a little play.
But anyway, a fantastic turnout. Thank you very much to everybody for travelling up here. But Ali's going to present all of the classes, bar the red, bar the expert, because you never know, he might actually be in the mix for that himself. So, okay,
well done, guys.
Well done, thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem. Well done, guys.
Well done. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Tim, second place, man.
Right.
How do you feel?
I honestly have no idea how that happened. No idea at all. I'm so thrilled. Catch my breath.
Right, so we have done all the results and everything. Tim and I have unfinished business with this rock. I tried to pedal up it in the comp, but I resorted back to Stratodab. So we're here, we're gonna kick its ass, and we're gonna actually just get up it. That's getting bounced all over the place.
Oh man, that is rad. That was so awesome.
I thought that was the best yet. Right, that is the end of the day. I am absolutely stoked to have got first place, even though Aaron, who is an elite level rider in Scotland, he wasn't competing competitively. I'm still stoked to get first. That's awesome. Maybe a comeback for the comps now. I just want to say massive thanks to all the riders that turn up, the organisers, all the observers. Yeah, without those guys, this just wouldn't happen. And if you are interested in getting to some of the comps, if you're in Scotland, I'll put a link down below. If you're in England and you want some comps in England, I'll put links to some clubs down there. So even if you're a street trials rider, get into a comp, absolutely brilliant. It's good for your fitness, it's good for your bike skills, great for your balance. So yeah, even if you've never done a comp, I'd recommend it. It's good fun. I've now got an absolutely fantastic drive home in the MX-5. I'm actually really looking forward to this. And yeah, I don't know what next week's vlog is going to be. This was a surprise one. Hope you enjoyed it. Get out, ride your bikes, and catch you next time. Oh, and if you want, I've got Patreon, so yeah, link below. Join that if you want. Cheers, bye bye.